Artificial intelligence is changing the game, but do you truly know what it is and how it works? Your discovery starts now. Welcome to Expert Connections, where we connect you to the experts leading in their fields with insights and developments. I'm your host, Julie Holton. Today, we're talking artificial intelligence, exploring developments, challenges, and what the future holds. So, Jesse, when we say future, I think that means basically 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, that's what it feels like right now. This stuff is moving incredibly fast.
Super fast. Jesse is the chief web pro at SuperWebPros, an early adopter and learner who's incorporating AI into his business. Jesse, thanks for joining us for this kind of back to the basics conversation today about AI. We have a packed series on all aspects of AI, but I think for much of the world, it really starts here at the beginning. What is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, great question. Massive question. So let's talk about it first from a popular perspective. Let's talk about what it's not. Okay, it's not magic, right? This is not some magical entity, computer super intelligence that is generating thoughtful responses to thoughtful questions. Okay, that is not what this is, right? So artificial intelligence at a fundamental level is really about large statistical models mining lots and lots of data to generate different kinds of output to solve specific problems, right? What's got everyone excited right now is this thing called ChatGPT. And what makes it exciting to them is the fact that its sort of natural language model feels quote unquote real or feels human. But the reality is your autocorrect on your phone, how it, my daughter's name is Gabby, which you could spell Gabi, which is how we spell it, or Gabby, or any number of other ways, right? The way that Apple learns to start spelling her name correctly when I'm sending a message is also a form of artificial intelligence. If you've ever used Canva and you need to remove the background from a photo, that is also a different type of artificial intelligence. So what's so exciting right now is the availability and the fact that it's starting to become mainstream for users. And the chat models, the language models are starting to, they feel really sort of human, but there are so many different use cases for artificial intelligence. This is just one of them. And it's really about large data sets parsing to solve really interesting problems in a programmatic way.
And so when we're talking about AI, separate from traditional computer programming, where the programmer is specifically telling the computer how to perform a task and what it should do to perform the task, AI instead, the AI systems are designed to learn and adapt, like you were saying, the spelling of Gabby's name, or, kind of as we're using Siri, as we're using Alexa, some of these programs that are taking our responses or our changes to their responses and adapting them based on the data that we are giving them. So how you mentioned ChatGPT. Let's talk about ChatGPT. I think there's so much buzz in the last month alone. I saw data that showed that there were over 1 million new users for ChatGPT. That is the fastest growing platform, if you will. If you compare it to Facebook, if you compare it to Instagram, Snapchat, any platform in the world, it is now the fastest growing platform with 1 million new users in 30 days. That's crazy. What is ChatGPT and what are some of the ways you're seeing it used right now?
Yeah, great question. So ChatGPT is a natural language processing engine that was released by a company called OpenAI. So I just said a lot of words that a lot of people are going to say, what does that even mean, right? So if you haven't ever tried ChatGPT, you should go to chat.openai.com/chat and take a look. And it'll almost, as soon as you see the demo, it'll become kind of clear what it is, although it will not become clear what it can do, meaning that it can do so many more things. So ChatGPT is essentially a model, a language model that allows for you to put in questions and really more than questions, but let's start with this. Put in questions and get back answers that read and feel like a natural language answer, as if you and I were having a conversation. probably a little less long-winded than I am, but the idea would still be that, you ask it a question like the one you asked it, and it would give you back a pretty conversational answer to that question. And that's just one of many use cases that people are finding with this particular AI as it is.
So Jesse, what are some of the common use cases that you're seeing already? So if someone were to just, whether it's ChatGPT or other AI apps that are popping up, programs that are popping up, just different ways people are using it, what are some use cases that you're seeing right now, especially where AI is being used as a tool?
Yeah, okay, that is a massive question. Okay, so use cases. So let's start with some
Yeah, let's
basic
pick
ones.
one. Let's just pick one example and kind of dive in, right?
Yeah, so actually I just released a video on our YouTube channel on some productivity hacks for ChatGPT specifically. Okay, and so that talks about things like using ChatGPT to do minor SEO tasks like write meta descriptions or alt tags. But you can also use it to solve functions for Google Sheets, or if you're a programmer like we are, I've used it to help me, debug some code in the last couple of weeks, right? So that's another use case that particular thing has allowed us to do. We're also using it to summarize, so we'll have long meetings with clients. We will have these transcripts generated, and we'll have ChatGPT summarize the transcript, or even say, tell me the to-dos that came out of this meeting. Here's the transcript, and it'll say, here are the to-dos, right? Very, very, very useful stuff, and that's in that language domain. But there are other domains as well, like computer vision is another really interesting domain. So being able to feed a machine images after it's been trained, feeding images and it be able to classify, this is a dog, this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a cat. Now, that might not be particularly interesting about dogs and cats, but let's imagine now you're in a commercial roofing business and you need to be able to assess the quality of a roof, right? And you have a bunch of pictures. You can fly up there with a drone, take a bunch of pictures, and this model could conceptually tell you a score, give you a roof score that you could then use to either sell to a prospect or even for yourself to see, some things that you might not otherwise have seen or known without manual labor getting involved. But instead, maybe this particular AI is giving you a report in real time based on drone footage, rather than you having to climb up there and look yourself or something to that effect, right? Domino's is using versions of this in language models. So people calling Domino's think they're, getting a teenager answering the call to order, to place order the pizza, except it's really polite. Well, why is this polite? Because it's actually a bot that's answering that call and placing the order for you and having the conversation with you in real life. So the number of use cases are tremendous, and they span not just language processing or text processing, but image, video, and even untold other use cases that, I'm honestly discovering new ones every single day. And as we pioneer stuff in this field, like we're finding things we didn't even know we could do.
Yeah, and let's link below to your video that you just came out with on SuperWebPros with the productivity tools. Let's talk about that, because I think that's a great example. Every business owner, every executive, every person who's watching could benefit from productivity tools. How is AI different? How is it like changing the game or upping the game with productivity?
Yeah, I think the number one is certainly speed. So you talk about productivity tools, right? There are some that, the ideal productivity tools are easy to use, they're easy to use, and they get us a pretty large return on time, right? And so we might spend a lot of time puzzling over this project management system or that project management system, or, this hack or that hack. And what's great is that this particular tool, let's go back to ChatGPT, which is what that particular video you're referencing on is about. The ease of use is as easy as I type into a computer something like summarize this text, and I paste it and it does it for me, right? And that takes all of less than a minute, right? So from a productivity standpoint, this thing that would have taken me, let's imagine how I would have done this before. I would have had my admin, right? I would have sent the transcript to the admin and said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you go through the transcript and create a summary of the meeting notes and any tasks that we need to accomplish? And she might have probably spent, let's say it was an hour-long meeting, she might spend 20 minutes going through the transcript, another 10 or 15 minutes, coming up with the notes, another 10 or 15 minutes entering all that into the system. In this case, I pop this into ChatGPT. It's done in less than a minute. I don't even have to ask the admin. I can just give her the output and say, hey, can you put these in the system and assign them to these people? And so that 1 hour of time has been shrunk into, let's call it 2 minutes of management, and then her only the 15 minutes it takes to put it into our system in a way that is going to work for our system. We just saved ourselves 45 minutes worth of labor by using this tool. Now compound that by every single meeting. We're having dozens of meetings a week, right? I mean, that's we're getting back, we're talking about real part-time labor, FTEs worth of labor just in this one task that we currently are using it for, right? And there's others besides that as well.
Yeah, and I love this example because I don't know a single business owner that couldn't use more time in the day. We can't give you more time, but we can give you this new tool that will help you streamline some of this work. And in the time that it would have taken you, even just to ask someone to do this, that same amount of time is being used to complete the project, to have it be done. And we're seeing this, solve problems across all industries. I just read an article yesterday, and these articles are coming out faster than you can read them, but I just read one yesterday about Alzheimer's and AI being used to help predict and diagnose early onset and kind of capturing those symptoms early, which is huge when we're talking about disease diagnosis, giving people more time for that advanced planning, for putting together the care team, let alone putting together, the health protocol that's going to follow and all of that. We're seeing this, of course, in autonomous vehicles, we're at traffic management. I mean, you name it. And this is already shaping industries. I find it interesting too, because there's a lot of buzz right now about AI, but AI has existed for a long time and has been used in these real world problems, these real world applications. What are some other practical applications, just kind of like a brainstorming moment here as businesses are watching and as they're dipping their toe in, and some people I talk to say, I just need to learn. I just don't even know what it is or how it could be beneficial to me. What are some other practical uses or just things that you think businesses and industries should be thinking about with AI?
Yeah, this is a great question, one that I get all the time. So I actually love your commentary about healthcare. So in fact, medical imaging was one of the first use cases of computer visioning for being able to catch, for instance, irregularities in an MRI or a CAT scan or any of these other kinds of tests. I mean, it's been used in that field for a long time, and it's helped save countless lives. Now, that's absolutely a use case. So let's talk about vision, right? So vision is one interesting use case. I gave the example before of a roofing company that imagine you could fly over and assess a roof. Now, if you're a residential roofer, you might not necessarily need to have somebody climbing up on roofs anymore to go and look at things and do an assessment. You could potentially, with a drone and a computer vision AI, be able to do an assessment without having to incur the liability that comes with having to climb up on a roof just for a quote, right? You could imagine using something like this for inventory control and inventory management. Things come into a warehouse and a computer vision bot is doing a rough count of inventory, or making sure that pallets are moved in a specific way. You can do it. You can imagine if you are a physical therapist or a chiropractor or someone, and you want to get a sense for someone's alignment and their movement patterns. There are vision applications that allow for you to see someone's kind of alignment and how they're moving, and whether there are areas of their body that are impeded or out of alignment in different ways. I think every industry is going to be a little bit different in terms of what's even available. But the way I've started to frame this for other people is you want to look for things where right now you need a lot of labor to do a lot of repetition, right? So repetition generally means there's probably a good opportunity for automation, okay? But then you also want to look for things where there is decision making within, let's call it 1 or 2 standard deviations of a mean, meaning that you see things, boxers are coming in and they're either black, red, blue, or yellow, but they're never going to be circles. right? Because the reality is that an AI is not going to be able to recognize once it's trained, until it's trained rather, it's not going to be able to recognize things outside of what it's been taught to recognize. But let's imagine, like, you know, I can't imagine a use case, Santa's little elves, right? So Santa's got a bunch of elves that are sorting presents coming down the thing, you know, this one is this one, this one's that one, this one's that one, right? And so he's like, you know what, you know, gosh, people don't believe in Christmas as much anymore. And, you know, the magic's going away, elves are disappearing. Let's bring in a computer vision AI to start doing the sorting for me. And that is a great kind of a use case that a vision AI could do instead, right? It's this sorting problem. So repetition and variation, but, you know, not so much variation that if you're like this, it's going to be very difficult to train. But if it's kind of like this, there you've got something to train. And those are the kinds of areas where I would start looking in my own business for, is there an opportunity to intelligently automate this with an AI? And then the final component is data. Do you actually have data? Do you actually have images? Do you actually have call logs? Do you actually have spreadsheets or financial information? Do you actually have enough data to train this thing in order for it to actually work?
Jesse, we have a packed series. We are diving into what you are doing right now with AI within your business. We have demos we've walked through. We have so much is developing every single day that by the time we put out a video, it feels outdated. So stay with us through this series. So much to show, so much more to come on Expert Connections, all about AI. Drop us a line below to join the conversation. Let us know the tools you're using. Let us know what you want to learn more about. Let us know what's going on in your world. Join the conversation. Jesse, thanks for being on the show today and for sharing your expertise. Connect with Jesse and learn more about Expert Connections at expertconnections.tv, and we'll see you back here in the next video.
Thank you.